Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rise. We're back here at Crown Hyundai in St. Pete, Florida, because guess what? We have that talk of the town crossover SUV, a midsize that really has got a lot of excitement, and it's this vehicle right here. This is a 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe. This one is a limited trim, but before we get into the OG of Hyundai crossovers, let's talk about what's going on here. Lots of change in the auto industry. Of course, big talks about electrification, but you know what? Hyundai is doing their EV thing with the Ioniq 5 and the Ioniq 6, but they're staying true to the rest of their lineup. Now, the Santa Fe, like I said, the OG, it's been around since the year 2000, Y2K, baby. And you know what? It started that big change for the brand, from the Santa Fe to the Tucson, the Venue, all of those, even the Veracruz. How many people remember the Hyundai Veracruz? One thing is for certain though, with all of these changes going on with the Santa Fe, it needed to happen because the competition is also changing their vehicles as well. So what I want to do is I want to compare this new boxy Land Rover-esque design Santa Fe to one of the other heavy hitters in this segment. That's going to be the Honda Pilot. So let's go ahead, let's dive in and find out which is the better midsize SUV for you and your family. Let's go ahead, dive in and find out. Now, before you get in the comments section and saying, well, Joe, didn't you already review this vehicle? Not exactly. We like to bring the different trims here on Rady's Rides. Our first Hyundai Drive review of the Santa Fe was the SEL trim, and it just so happened to be black as well. Obviously, we have to take what is available here at Crown Hyundai because these are selling so fast because of that popularity I told you about. So this one just happens to also be black, but that is the only similarity between this Santa Fe and the one that we have at the end of this review, which is the SEL trim. That way you can compare the two different trims. But what you'll find at the front of the business is that new boxy style, and I really feel like it's fitting this vehicle very nicely. Of course, you're gonna get full LED, H pattern daytime running lamps and turn signals. You have your double stacked LED projector beam headlights, and you'll notice how the daytime running lamp from H to H all the way on the other side, it runs all the way across, fully illuminated. Now, with this being the new Santa Fe, you do have not only new design, but we have some functionality. Like the way that they did these corner vents. So the air is going to hit the front of the Santa Fe and then go down these corner air curtains. You do have some gloss black, and with this metallic black Santa Fe, it all kind of blends in nicely. Working your way down, because this is a limited trim, you do get these silver aluminum-esque appointments throughout the whole vehicle on the exterior, and of course, special touches on the interior. Now, if you're wondering, well, Joe, how much ground clearance do we have? 7 inches of ground clearance. If you need a little bit more, there is an off-road spec known as the XRT, which we will be bringing you that one as well, so stay tuned for that. But this one, like I said, is one of the topper trims known as the Limited. Now, as we come across that new front grille area, you're gonna notice some unique touches. First of all, this top portion is not a grille. They actually have these dark chrome accents because this is the Limited trim with your LED daytime running lamp. We do have a forward-facing camera. I am gonna zonk it a little bit because it kind of looks like it's just stuck on from a J.C. Whitney catalog. I wish it was kind of blended in a little cleaner. These are two doors that as soon as you fire up this Santa Fe, they open up and allow cool air to enter the radiator section of this power plant, because remember, this is a turbocharged intercooled Santa Fe, whereas the Honda, that Pilot, is a naturally aspirated V6. So this will open up to allow air to come in, and on the bottom portion you have a little bit more gloss black, but you do have functionality, like I said, for that intercooler. The one thing I would have liked to have seen is some fog lamps, especially in this blocked off area. I wish there were some fog lamps there, but other than that, let me know how you feel about the styling of the front of this Santa Fe compared to the Honda Pilot. Now, as we rise up, I do like the way they didn't just do a totally flat hood. It actually angles down towards that gloss black trim with the dark chrome accents. You have the Hyundai badge, nice bright silver, and it's super flush. And then all they did body line wise was two nice prominent lines to give you a big plateau of a bulge. So you are getting a little bit of a mini bulge, where on a Pilot, you're gonna have to go get your socks out of your drawer because there are no bulges to speak of on the hood of the Pilot. But not too shabby what they're doing on the front end of this Santa Fe. Now, as we come around the bend, one of the biggest differences between this and the SEL trim that we did is the SEL has 18-inch wheels. Feast your eyes on these big bad mamma jammas. These are 20-inch wheels, large machined aluminum section, gunmetal metallic gray. Simple design, but I think that this wheel is another aspect that looks Land Rover Defender-esque. Just like a lot of the style, I think this wheel, like I said, if you look at a Land Rover Defender, very, very similar. If you're wondering what type of tires do we have, 255 on the width, 45 series sidewall, all four corners. Of course, we're on a new chassis compared to the previous gen Santa Fe. It's more rigid, and they retuned the suspension to give us a nice, comfortable ride, but also some good handling. Now, the best news is you can get your Santa Fe front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. So that's another nice touch, that they don't force you to just go all-wheel drive. Now, you'll notice on the lower corner how that trim that I was telling you about, that silver trim, wraps around towards the fender. We do have some flat black, but I'm actually digging it. And I think one of the reasons why I am digging it is because we have a metallic black Santa Fe. We'll have to see as we get other colors if I'm still gonna think that this looks good, but definitely let me know how you feel about the flat black and the shape. Very unique shape, much different than the Honda Pilot. Now, as we rise up, you'll notice that the flare actually starts on the front bumper area, comes into the fender. You do have this simple, clean side badge that just says Santa Fe. Maybe would have been nice to put a side marker light in there. Let me know what you think about that. We do have color match on the mirror caps, 360-degree cameras, LED turn signals, really slim. We're gonna have raised roof rails. On these roof rails, you could put up to 220 pounds. So if you need to get, that relative that just won't shut up on a family trip, like Aunt Edna, and you need to get her up on the roof of this thing in a cargo basket, you can handle that because 220 pounds, no problem. Now, you do have color match on the door handles. I like the way they brought the silver trim down the lower side skirt. And then let me show you one of the things that's really cool with this design. This is actually all window. So you have passenger window, and then some of this area here, this rectangle, is also see-through window. Very unique style. Of course, we have a little bit of gloss black to separate the quarter window from the passenger door window, but that boxy style looks really, really good on this Santa Fe. Where they get me and where they lose me is at the tail end of the business. If you notice, it seems like everything is sloping backwards. It's almost like, does this have an air ride suspension and it's in the lower position? It doesn't. It's supposed to sit like this, which is kind of kooky because look, as you swing around, the tail looks like it's drooping a little bit. So let me know in the comment section if you are okay with that or if that's bothering you like it's bothering me. So I am gonna have to zonk the droopiness. I mean, just to give you an idea, I'm 6 feet tall and the low roof spoiler is lower than the top of my head. So just to give you an idea, but I do like the way they clean out the rear glass, the wipers tucked in, so it's just gonna swoop down. They did the Santa Fe name, spelled it out for you in case you failed, geography class and you don't know where the heck Santa Fe is or how to spell it. They spell it out for you. I like the silver badges. And then working our way down, just like up front, a little bit of silver. We do have a functional stainless steel exhaust tip on one side. I wish they had one on both sides. And you do get the letter H. Now, instead of it being on the headlight, it's now on the tail light. So every time you hit the brakes, that H is gonna be H, H, H. That means slow down in Hyundai speak. Now, as we come across the back, you'll notice that we have a very low bumper area, which is gonna be good to get things in and out. Just from an aesthetic standpoint, like I said, it looks like Droopy the dog with the tail hanging down a little too low for my taste. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and talk about power And what the heck is gonna get the power to the ground in this Santa Fe? All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have 2 hood struts. Now, on the Honda Pilot, you do have a naturally aspirated 3.5 liter V6 with a 10-speed automatic. Well, what do we have in the Santa Fe? You have a 2.5 liter turbocharged inline 4. Now, the good news is it actually has similar horsepower and torque output to the V6, but you're looking at 277 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to an 8-speed dual-clutch transmission, a DCT. The vehicle weighs 4,486 pounds and can tow 4,500 pounds. Now, what's very fascinating is that when it comes to this engine, you're gonna find that you're gonna have that power, because this is the same engine that is in the Sonata N-Line. MPGs, if you're wondering, 20 in the city, 29 on the highway. So that's where you're gonna get very similar MPGs. Like I said, you're getting very similar power to a V6. You're also getting very similar MPGs to what that Pilot is bringing. But nice to see manufacturers trying different things. We're gonna go for a drive and see how it goes. But until we go for that on-throttle drive, let's fire it up and see this thing move. All right, guys, we are inside this 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe, this limited trim. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I am ready to buy a new SUV for my family. We just had another child. I need the room. I need the room. I was gonna go Honda Pilot because, you know, everybody tells me they're super reliable, but I really like the style. I really like it of this Santa Fe. How much is this limited trim? Very good question, and it's a dilemma, but MSRP for this limited trim, which is second to the top, one higher trim above this is calligraphy. But second from the top trim, you're looking at $44,900 for the way that this one is optioned. But let's see how it stacks up to the mighty other H. It's like H versus H, Hyundai versus Honda. 2 H's enter, 1 H leaves. Who's it gonna be? To the door panels. I like the wonderful style. You do have real wood trim up there. It's not the fake stuff. That's real wood trim. You got soft touch material up top, the stitching, even the way they did that silver finish around the door handle with the horizontal lines, it's clean, no fingerprints. Now this one does have the lighter beige interior. You don't have to get it, but the good news is you don't have any gloss black. Door pocket is a decent size, probably one Whataburger, a large fry, and a Mountain Dew to wash it down. And of course we have the Bose sound system. Now going from the door panel to the dash, more of that great stitching, the two-tone style, the real wood. You do have ambient lighting, which is in this lower section here. You have your area for your 14 Twinkies. And then watch this, boom. When you're on the longer trips, you can load up for more. So, and the great news is a Twinkie will last, believe it or not, 456,000 years. So you'll be able to leave them in there for a long time. I like the way they did the silver, especially the H for the AC vents. And then as you slide in, you're gonna be greeted to 2 12.3-inch screens. Now, they're full touchscreen capability. It has all the usual, this is your home page. You're gonna be very familiar to this if you've been in Hyundai vehicles already, but very fast reacting, very intuitive. I'm gonna throw it in reverse. There's our backup camera. We got 360, nice clear resolution. I could even do that. That's cool. I just wish it was a black Santa Fe. I didn't buy a white one, I bought a black one. It's like yin and yang. I don't want the yin, I want the yang. And that's what we got with the black one. But at least they give you this 360 scan, which is nice. Now, if you're wondering, what am I using over here? This is the column shifter for the 8-speed dual clutch transmission. So instead of push button like in the Honda, this has an actual shifter on the column. You do have your start stop button right near the H. And then you're gonna have some real knobs and controls, radio controls. We got dual climate. You're just gonna tap to adjust your blower fan, heated steering wheel, tap-a-roo. You got your 3 stages of ventilated seats. Of course, we have 3 stages of heated seats, but I'm shutting those off right away because I'm already hot as heck. And then down below, look at what we have. We have this bridge system. You could put a 5-pound bag of red delicious apples, maybe some Granny Smith, maybe some caramel apples. I'm getting hungry. 12 volt, which is nice. You'll notice that you have 2 wireless charging panels and you have 2 USB-Cs. So that's really nice. 2 cup holders. You're not getting that, by the way, in the Honda. And the Honda has a 9-inch screen, not a 12.3 inch. The one thing that looks a little freaky is the key fob. So you can see the H for Hyundai, but here's your key fob. I like the key fob on the Honda a little bit better just because it doesn't look like some type of weird alien device or something. I wouldn't want to wake up and find this inside my body somewhere. That would be weird. This armrest is like taking a hard piece of plastic and wrapping it in nice material. So not the softest, but it looks good. Open it up. Whoa, what do we got here? We have, whoa, I think I might have, did I break that? I might have broke it, but I don't think I did. Let me show you what we got here. Somebody took their trash and threw it in here. I don't like that when they do that. So you have this little divider. So what you could do is you could fill this up with some nachos, a little bit of guac, or you could just blend it all together. And then this thing, I mean, watch, I'm gonna show you my arm, watch this. Look at how deep that center is. You could basically take, I would say, a trophy that you won for field day back in elementary school. Remember in 3rd grade, you and your friend, you did the 3-legged race, you did the potato sack race, you ate the apple first, you bobbed for apples and you ate yours first. That trophy could stay in there. The only problem is you're gonna have to take out your guac and chip tray. That's the one thing, but it is nice to have options. And look at that, it just drops in nicely. I don't know who took their, whatever that is. We'll put it back in there for them. And then the seats, this is leather, not pleather, not nylon, not vinyl, not plastic. This is leather, so we gotta thank the cows that sacrificed their lives for this leather. Soft touch, look at how it has the H. They really wanna make sure that you know Hyundai starts with an H. The bolstering, full electric assist for the passenger, full electric assist for the driver, and then we got a couple things to talk about. I'm actually kind of liking the headliner. It's not the usual run-of-the-mill material. You have a standard sunroof for up front, but guess what? You have a fixed panoramic glass roof for the mid-row and the 3rd row. But why don't you come over here to the business end? I got a steering wheel that looks very familiar from another brand I want to show you in this Santa Fe. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. What you're gonna find is you have 2 memory seat settings for the driver's seat. I like the way they put a little bit of silver trim on the switchgear just to give it some pizzazz. I'm 6 feet tall, and the pizzazz is I got plenty of room in here. You'd have to be the jolly freaking green giant to not fit in here. Steering wheel, I told you it looks familiar. It looks like it's out of a freaking Land Rover. And is that a bad thing? I don't really think so. Flat black on the buttons, a little bit of silver. If you're wondering what the heck is that, that means H in Morse code. Samuel Morse. He came up with Morse code and the telegraph. H. You have the lighter material on the wheels. I like the little silver trim. It is a manual tilting and telescoping wheel. And you do have paddles to go up and down that 8-speed dual clutch transmission. And then you have your dash display, super clean. I like the way that it has the ability to go through the different modes. So you go into your modes very easily, and this really allows you to show what is going on with the different personalities of this vehicle. So you have normal, sport, and my drive, which is gonna be sort of like your preferences. When it comes to the corner cameras, yes, we have them. We do have the blind spot cameras, which is great technology. Other than that, you have all of the information you could ever need or want. The one thing you don't have is a HUD, a head-up display. So something to think about, but why don't we go ahead, let's get into the mid and 3rd row and see how this stacks up to the Pilot. Right, guys, mid-row time, and I'm telling you now, they not only spoil the people up front, they spoil the people in the mid-row as well. You do have your manual sunshades, it's nice, so you don't have to go to Walmart and get yourself a little square of window tint and put it on with a bunch of bubbles because you want to keep the sun off your kid. You could do it nicely and it's real professional. You'll notice that you have the side AC vents, letter H, H for Hyundai. Even here, letter H. Today's letter is H, everybody. I like the way they have this nice large pocket. This is where you could keep some Mad Libs. I used to love Mad Libs. And if your kids don't know what Mad Libs are, you might be doing something wrong as a parent. Put away the damn phones and get the Mad Libs out. It's a great way to learn nouns, adjectives, all those things, but it's also a lot of fun. Back of the command center doesn't have many buttons, but what it does have, look at this. I can open up to get to the trophy, to get to the guac and the chips. You also have a nice tray here. Look at this. This is where you're gonna be able to keep some road games, maybe travel size Battleship or Candyland. Keep that all sealed up. And then sitting here, you do have heated seats, which are on the buttons right here on the seat armrest. That's your, ugh. Got them. Mosquitoes. They're deadly here in Florida. That will be included for whoever buys this one. But we have 3 stages of heated seats. And then you'll notice, like I said, that power shade opens up. The one thing that's kind of weird is there's no AC vent, there's no AC controls in the mid-row. That's really bizarre. So I got to tell everybody up front what I want. And if Steven's driving, he ain't going to give me what I want. So what am I going to do? I guess make sure I'm driving. Steven will be sitting in the back. Semi-soft, it's a little bit softer than that armrest, 2 cup holders. Now I'm not going to get in the 3rd row, but what I am going to show you is that this mid-row does slide. It does recline. Whoa, and it reclines quite a bit. I got to fix this, my OCD. There we go, looks better. I'm not going to get in the 3rd row, but I am going to move it for you so you can see. Now, if you want to see me sitting in the 3rd row, watch the review at the end of this one. And it's real simple. You're just going to hit this button. Look how easy that is. A little bit of trash. Whoever cleaned this, I'm going to have to yell at. But you have your 3rd row. It does tilt, USB-Cs, AC vents, and you do have AC controls and a home power source back here for the 3rd row passenger. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the cargo area and see what we could stuff in this Santa Fe. All right, guys, time to get in the cargo area. Real simple. You're just going to hit the button. Nice electric assist. Lifts up. And this is what I was telling you about. Even though it's got a droopy butt, I do like the way that the loading level is very low. So when you have that lift over, you're not having to lift things super high. That is the one good plus about that. Now I left the 3rd row up and I reclined it all the way back. This is gonna show you how much room you have. You have 14 cubic feet of space. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold. So I'm going to take this, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. That's gonna fold down. You can see that we have a 12 volt. So when you're at the beach, when you're at the campsite, or you're just wanting some power, you got a power source here. There's those USB-Cs I was telling you about, and the air vents. On the passenger side, you have your AC controls. Nice to have that on the 3rd row, and another USB-C, and a home power source. That really kills what the Honda Pilot brings. And then you'll notice our buttons to fold down the mid-row. Now, if you're looking at the 3rd row down, what you're basically looking at is we went from 14.6 cubic feet of space to 70.5. You fold down the mid-row, you're looking at almost 80 cubic feet of space. And I like the way things are nice and flat. But you know what? It's about that time. If you're ready, I'm ready. Grab yourself a Twinkie, grab yourself a Yoo-Hoo, shake it up, because we're gonna go on throttle and see how this limited trim of the Santa Fe drives. All right, guys, we are leaving Crown Hyundai. We're inside this all-new 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe top limited trim. And right away, this driving experience, the game has changed for the Santa Fe. I like how low the dash is, gives you a super clear view of what is in front of you. Even the little touches like the aluminum finish on the Bose sound system, getting to that 12.3-inch screen is well within reach. And then you do have, like I said, your different modes, your 3 different modes, sport, normal, and then you could set up your preferences, which is really nice. The blind spot cameras is worth every penny. That's something that on the Honda you're not gonna get. And like I mentioned earlier, with the Honda Pilot, you're getting a 9-inch screen. This has a 12.3-inch infotainment system screen and that 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. Another thing that I think is really smart is that by switching back to column shifters, you now have all this great usable room. The wireless charging, getting to the AC controls is well within reach, and it makes sense. And I like the way you just tap. I don't want any sliding stuff. Dual climate, you have real knobs. And then we're gonna go on throttle. You ready? On throttle, here we go. So smooth shifts from that 8-speed dual clutch transmission. And I also like the fact that this vehicle, you can get front wheel drive or you can get all-wheel drive. It is up to you and your price point and what you are looking for. Now, when it comes to the overall dimensions, it's very, very easy to drive. And I think that's another plus, that if you're stepping up from, say, a Tucson, or maybe you're stepping up from a Honda CR-V, the size of this vehicle is actually a really, really good size, good dimensions, and the visibility is what really helps. Not only out the windshield, but the rear glass, the side mirrors, and then you have your blind spot cameras, which are awesome, all by flipping the turn signal on. You do have paddles on the back of the wheel to go up and down the 8-speed DCT, and I like the way they have a metal type finish to them, so they actually feel good when you're touching them. And then the room in here, I mean, that's another area where I think they did a heck of a job with not really making this Santa Fe much larger, but they're giving you a lot more room. These speed humps that we have are actually very telling because it does a great job to show the work that they did to the chassis, to the shock absorbers, and of course, to the sound deadening material. It's very, very quiet in here, and I really am liking that. The thickness of the side glass, the acoustic windshield, all those things provide a new driving experience that I don't think anybody has ever had in a Santa Fe before this, which is really exciting. And it's nice to see that even though they have the Palisade, which is just a little bit larger than the Santa Fe, if you don't want to go the Palisade route, you can go Santa Fe and still have lots to compete with against the Honda Pilot. But steering feels good. Obviously, when you're in sport mode, that's going to change steering sensitivity, throttle sensitivity, and how the engine, the transmission behave. We're going to go on throttle here. On throttle, here we go. So like I said, smooth shifts from that 8-speed DCT. The handling is very buttoned up. You feel confident. You're not in a corner carver by any means, but it allows you to just feel confident of what you're doing. And then, like I said, so easy to change the modes. We can go right back to normal, and everything is gonna soften up a little bit from the steering, from the throttle sensitivity, and then, like I said, how the engine and the transmission behaves with one another. But just really liking the new environment that this Santa Fe is providing. And it does a great job mating the power plant with the transmission. And then, like I said, ours is front wheel drive. And as long as you have the traction control on, you're not gonna spin off the line. If I shut the traction control off, I am gonna spin the front tires. But since I have the traction control on with the front wheel drive, you're not spinning off the line. But I'm telling you, all of the nicer finishes in here, it does not feel like any Santa Fe that has come before it. It really hasn't. And the way that Hyundai did the screens with having the infotainment kind of pivoted towards the driver gives you that easy access. The steering wheel doesn't block all the information, which is great. And then it's got a nice feel. The steering wheel has a nice thickness, and I love the look of it. And then also, like I said before, the paddles. And when you're using the paddles, it actually shows you briefly across the top what gear you are in and where you're going, either up or down. What I want to do is I want to shift with these paddles a little bit. On throttle, here we go. So I am breaking traction using the paddles a little bit just because we're in a front wheel drive example. Going over the speed humps, solid, rock solid. Smooth downshifts. It's got a little gear indicator on the bottom there. But just really, really nicely done. And like I said, for the price point, that really to me is the big game changer here, is the price point that it comes in. On throttle, here we go. The power plant isn't all noisy and a bunch of vibration, which is also nice, especially with it being a turbocharged 4-cylinder. But I'm hoping that this has been a good overall review of what the new Santa Fe is bringing for 2024, especially the limited trim. We're gonna get back to Crown Hyundai and wrap this one up, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, been another great day here at Crown Hyundai. Definitely want to thank Casey and the rest of the team getting us their very first limited trim. We're gonna be bringing the other trims, but we were able to cover this limited trim here at Crown Hyundai. Let me know what you think. Are you gonna go Santa Fe or are you gonna go Pilot? How do you like your mid-size 3-row SUV? Let me know in the comment section, but if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Ladies Rise family. Of course, we need to give it up to the flood man. He's bringing the water, he's bringing the rain. Right now, he wishes that he was bringing some cool weather because it's about 90 degrees out here and 100% humidity. So he's definitely bringing the sweat. So thank you, Steven, for sweating it out with me and with your magical camera skills. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.